So last week on the Coaching Business Mentor, we started to look at how to build a coaching business around a full-time job, family, and other major commitments. We dove really deep into it, and today we continue where we're going to be looking at how to maximize your three core resources: time, energy, and money as you build your part-time coaching business. The truth, though, is whether you're building your business part-time or whether you're building it full-time, you are going to get so much out of this episode. You're going to have a really good one here, and I'm looking forward to sharing all of this with you. See you on the inside. Are you a coach? Do you need to get paying clients consistently, but you don't want to waste countless hours trying to be famous on social media? Do you want a calendar full of appointments with quality prospects who want what you offer so you can convert premium clients month after month without stress? Now you can do just that when we help you implement the Predictable Profit Machine for Coaches, a business system that helps coaches consistently generate profits in their business. All you have to do is visit coachingbusinessmentor.show/machine. Watch the short explainer video and then go ahead and book an appointment. Let us help you build a predictable profit machine around your own coaching expertise so you can start earning predictable profits in your business month after month. Hey, and welcome to this episode. So right now we're moving on from where we ended episode 5, where we started to look at how to build a profitable part-time coaching business around your job, your family, and other commitments. And last week, we kind of started talking about this, and we looked at the reality that you just have limited resources available to help you build this business. And we focused and we dove into the importance of setting realistic goals. One of the biggest challenges most coaches who are looking to build a part business have, and one mistake they make, is we set these big, hairy, audacious goals because we've listened to some motivational speaker who's got us to believe that we can take on the world, and then we have marketers who have simplified the process and amplified the results you can get, that you begin to have these really unrealistic goals that are just so far removed from reality. The challenge with that is two things. Number one, as reality begins to dawn on you, you begin to seem so disconnected from your dreams that you keep putting off doing what you need to do. The other thing is, because these goals are so unrealistic, when you don't get anywhere close to them, it can begin to discourage you, and it can begin to impact on your commitment to building your business. And so I shared with us in the last episode what a realistic goal is, a goal that would stretch you but will keep you going and help you on the way to achieving success in your coaching business. And I broke it down for you and showed you how any coach can go ahead and set this goal. I mean, if you have missed episode 5, I encourage you to, once we're done here, to go back and listen to that particular episode. This week, we're going to be focusing on maximizing your core resources. So earlier on, I talked about your core resources in the last episode, and these core resources are time, money, and energy. We need to invest all these resources into growing our businesses if you are a heart-led coach. But it's an even greater challenge when you have a full-time job, you have a family, and you have other things that you are committed to. So today in this episode, we're going to look at how to maximize these 3 resources in your business towards actually achieving what you're looking to achieve, which is building that profitable business, in spite of the fact that you have limited time, limited money, and limited energy. So let's dive deep into these, and we'll take them one after the other. The first one we're going to look at is maximizing your time. Now, the interesting thing about time is that one resource that every human on the planet has an equal amount of. We all have 60 seconds in a minute. We all have 60 minutes in an hour. And we all have 24 hours in a day. We all have 7 days in a week. We all have, 30, 31 days in a month, and we all have 365 days in a year. No one has any more or any less than anybody else. However, it's one thing to have this resource. It's another thing to maximize this resource to help us create the future that we have. The reality is, what we're doing with our time today impacts on where we will be in the future. So, in a sense, we create our future with what we're doing with our time today. We create the life we desire by what we're doing with our life or our time today. Technically, your time is your life. And if you want a better life 5 years from now, 1 year from now, 1 month from now, then it's important that we begin to pay attention to what we do with our time, because your time is your future and your time is your life. So basically, if you want to make the most of your life, you've got to really value and make the most of your time. Now, you need to invest your time in your business. But the reality is, you already have a life that's placing a demand on your time. If you're working a job, you already have a job that takes up about 8 hours a day of your life. If you have a family, you've got to invest a lot of time with that family. If you're probably commuting to work, that takes up time, right? Everything that you're involved in at the moment is placing a demand on your time. You're doing the school run, you're taking your children off to sports or that sort of thing, and maybe you're involved in your local church. All these different things will place a demand on your time. So let's look at what you can do. Let's just begin to look at what we can do to help us maximize the time that we invest in our business to get the most out of your time. The first thing I'm going to say we should do is we need to understand what we're doing with our time at the moment. How are you using your time? You would be surprised how most of us coaches don't really understand how much time we spend doing what. So the first thing we want to do is want to conduct a time log. Now, it's a very simple process, and you may have heard of this before. You may have even done this before. And if you have, that's great. I want you to do it again. I want us to conduct a time log over a 1 week period. So how do you do this? It's really simple. Just set an alarm on your phone to go off every 2 minutes to the top of the hour. So if it's 7 a.m., basically at 7:58, this alarm's going to go off at 2 minutes to the top of the hour up until you go to bed. Okay. From the moment you wake up, this alarm will wake you up 2 minutes to when you would normally wake up. So if you'd normally wake up at 6 o'clock, this alarm would go off at 5:58 to wake you up. And then you will log the time you spent sleeping. Every day, 2 minutes to the end of each hour, log what you have done that particular hour. And you want to do this for 7 days. What you then want to do is you want to just go ahead and list out, every activity that you're involved in, no matter what it is. So let's just say, between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., or technically 10:58, but we'll just go with 11 a.m. Between 10 and 10 past 10, I was on the phone call with my brother discussing XYZ. Between 10:10 and 10:40, I was working on a report for work. Whatever it is, you just go ahead and you log all that stuff and you put it out, for a whole week. And then you begin to pull out, all the different activities, calls with family, reports at work. And those activities, begin to just list them and then begin to work out how much time you spend on each of those activity every month. So you've logged it. Now you'll begin to allocate times to each of those activity throughout the week for that whole 7-day period. Now that you've done that, have a look at that list, and I want you to rank every activity, first of all, every activity on a scale of 1 to 10, based on how important this activity is towards helping you attain the life you desire 5 years from now. Okay, so you have done your time log. You have listed all the activities from that time log into one sheet, and you've identified how much time, how many minutes you spend on each activity each week or on that week, which is a good, if you do this one week, except if it's a unique week, this should be a good identification of how you use your time, right? Just rank it on a scale of 1 to 10 of how important this particular activity is towards helping me attain the life that I desire 5 years from now, with 1 being it won't help me at all, and 10 being extremely and significantly helpful. Okay. The next thing you want to do, we're going to come back to the rankings in a moment. The next thing you want to do is you want to go back to each of those activities and just ask yourself, okay, which one of those activities can you not outsource? You have to do this. It's important and you have to do it. Okay? Anything that is on a scale of maybe 8 to 10, that is important, but also you have to do it. No one else can do it. You just identify it as something I must do. So that's a must do activity. Okay. So a good one is if family time or a family event. The question might be, what, for the goals the vision that I have for my future, this thing, I can't get rid of it. I can't outsource spending time with my family. Then it becomes a must do. So the next thing is, what are the things that I can outsource or automate? What can I outsource or automate? So something that may or may not be so important. I would usually say anything that is between a 5 to 10. Anything that is between a 5 to 10. Identify the things which are between 5 to 10, which are you can maybe outsource or you can automate. Okay. And then finally, looking at this list, what can I just eliminate? What are the things that actually this thing is not serving my future? And that these are things which would usually be between 1 and 4. It really doesn't offer significant value. It's not helping me build the future that I desire. Why am I spending time on this thing? I would encourage you to either significantly identify this as something you want to either eliminate or significantly reduce the amount of time you're spending on these things. Right? You've done a time log. First step is you do the time log for a week. The second thing is you list all the activities from that time log. Okay. And the next thing is you identify over a week how much time you spend on each of these activities. Once you've done that, I rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being it's not important to my future, 10 being it's really, really important to my future. Then identify those things which are on your list, which are high ranking, like from an 8 to 10, which you cannot outsource. You must do those things. Identify the things which are on a scale of 5 to 10, which you can outsource or you can automate them. And then finally, identify the things which are probably on a scale of 1 to 4, which you probably will eliminate or you will reduce the amount of time you're doing those things. Everything should be assigned one of those things. Once you've now done this is really useful for you because now you're going to begin to restructure your life. You're going to be restructuring your time, which is restructuring your life. You would see some things you have been spending time on, which have been stealing your time. And you're going to reduce or eliminate these things because now you're going to be allocating your time intentionally. So I'm not going to talk about how you allocate your time for your family and for other commitments. Look at your day and then begin to look at what you have done and begin to look at how you allocate time for work to be more productive at work, how you're going to be allocating time with your family, with other things to make sure you're more productive. But what I'm going to focus on really is your business, your coaching business. Now I want to look at how you're going to allocate times to your business each week. And more importantly, how you will allocate time to specific activities. So you would free up time because you will have eliminated a few things you were wasting time on. Those things which aren't really important to your future, where you're putting a lot of time into, are the things which have been stealing your time or stealing your life. Now that you've identified them and you have eliminated them or you have reduced the amount of time you spend on them, we're going to take that time, we're going to put it into your business. Right. But now we also want to start to allocate what time am I going to spend doing what in my business? Identify what the core activities are in your business. And then look at when you're going to spend time doing what. What time am I going to spend doing discovery calls, having conversations with prospects? What times, during the week am I going to spend on client appointments when I'm meeting with my clients or working with my clients? What time am I going to spend during the week working on creating content? You'd sit down and you're going to plan this in, and you're going to allocate this time into your calendar. Now, obviously, the focus here is on the time you're going to be investing in your business. My advice to you is, in doing this activity, actually just look at how you restructure your time generally, because by restructuring your time generally, you are restructuring your life to help you build the future that you desire. Hope this was very useful for you. When we're going to be going on the break now, when we come back, we're going to be looking at the two other resources that we need to look at maximizing. We're going to be looking at how to maximize your money and maximize your energy. See you in a bit. You are listening to the Coaching Business Mentor, the podcast focused on giving premium business advice to heart-led coaches like you, helping them get more clients, help more people, and make more money consistently. If you would like your questions answered and your business featured on this show, all you need to do is go to coachingbusinessmentor.show/question and go ahead and ask your question there and hit the submit button, and I will make sure that we answer your question here on the show. Also, there's 3 things I would like you to do for me if you're enjoying this show. Number 1, I'd like you to subscribe so you get notified every time we release a new episode. Number 2, I'd like you to leave a review letting other people know how much value you got out of the show. And finally, I would like you to share this episode with 3 coaches who you know would get value out of listening to it. That's it. Let's go ahead and continue with the show. Okay, and welcome back. Now we're going to dive into the next element that we're looking to maximize, which is maximizing our money. I'm going to give you one useful tip, actually, of maximizing all 3 resources. And I'm going to share this with you at the end of the show. But now let's focus on the money. Now, money is a limited resource, and unlike time, we don't have equal amounts of it. And it's really important to ensure that every penny counts. So some people will have access to more money than others, depending on a lot of different factors that we're not going to dive into. I don't want to make this a course about managing money, but it's just to focus on a few key things that you can do to maximize your money as you are looking to grow your business, especially if you have a job, a family, and these other commitments. Now, what I feel would be a good idea is for me to share with you exactly what I did. And just from what I did, we can pull out a few things that you could look to use and utilize to help you with this. The first thing that I did when I started out in business and I had a full-time job was I really focused on minimizing my cost of living. The thing is, your income, there's just so much you can earn. But what I did was I looked at how I could really spend as little as possible on just living. So we stayed in a small council apartment, and we stayed there for quite a while. Yes, we did buy the place. We're looking to manage our costs and keep our costs as low as possible. We did more staycations, so we didn't do a lot of traveling abroad and just took very, very cheap vacations, very, very cheap holidays. So, and we still enjoyed them, We did a lot of visited a lot of places in the country, and we would drive there and stay at a local hotel, not too expensive, and we'll just have the opportunity to just go around and visit all sorts of lovely places and enjoy the experience without having to spend a truckload of money. Low budget shopping. At the time, I didn't have a car especially because I enjoyed free travel on the trains and the buses, and so I didn't have a car. I just cut out that expense. I didn't want to have the monthly expense of running a car. When I eventually did buy a car, I got an old banger that could just get me around. It wasn't the car of my dreams, but it was a car that I could drive at the time to help me to build my dream. And I think that's the critical thing is this is not the time to start looking at going on the holiday of your dreams, living in the house of your dreams, or buying the car of your dreams. This is the time where you want to focus on building your dream and just focus on minimizing the cost of living at the moment. You can live this way and still have a good life. You don't have to drive that fancy car or wear those really expensive clothes or go on that really fancy holiday. You can still have a good life and still minimize the cost of your living. And what this did for me is it freed up money for me to invest in my business. See, that's what it did for me. And I look back now, and now I've been able to move into a bigger place and get a car that I prefer and go on holiday to places that I dreamt of. Now I'm able to do that. And that's what I'm suggesting is try to minimize the cost of your living. This would free up money for you to be able to invest in growing your business. And I'll just quickly talk about three types of expenses. First one are running costs. And these are the costs or the expenses that you need to make in order to keep your business going. So if you had an office, for example, and I would not recommend you have an office, by the way, that would be a running cost. And this brings me to the other thing, which is as far as running costs are concerned, these are things that you must have. Expenses, things, the money you must spend in order for your business to function. Okay, so this is not the time to get really fancy things. This is not the time to get an office. You don't need an office. As a coach, I mean, these days, you really technically don't need an office. You can have virtual meetings with clients anywhere in the world and work with them without having them come into an office. Now, if you happen to have a different kind of business that maybe you do need to have an office allocation, then you can explore that, and that would be a part of your running costs. So there's your running costs. You want to make sure everything you need, you invest in, but try to keep this as tight as possible. Try to make sure it's not massive. And the key thing, if there's anything that shouldn't be on there, don't put it on there until you can afford to put it on there. The other cost is R&D, research and development. Now, this is really important. This was where I put the most of my income that was coming in, and my business was into research and development. It was in learning more. So it was personal development, learning more about the business. It was investing and going to programs and mentoring programs and masterminds and just anything that could help me to learn more about how to grow my business and to develop me to be able to have a better business tomorrow, be a better coach or a better business person. So anything that's investing in developing you as a coach, developing you as a business person, growing your business and growing you, that's R&D, and that's really where I would suggest you want to put some of your money. Now, in running costs, one of the key things, sorry, I should have mentioned this, is marketing. There should be a marketing budget as well, which will be a part of your running costs because you will need to market for your business to function. So you should have an element of your cost, which is marketing. Now, there's one other type of expense that I want to talk about, and I call this major growth investments. At some point, you will decide that there is a major investment you need to make in taking your business to that next level. And many of us, all of us, at some point will get to that stage. Some people will make that decision very, very early in order to start to really see that growth happen. For some people, it might be a little later in your business. You realize you need to make a major investment to grow your business to that next level. A classic example is predictable profits machine. For a lot of coaches who come in to work with us, this is a major growth investment. They've seen that, okay, the predictable profits machine is something that can help them take their business to that next level. But it's not a cheap program. It's thousands of dollars. And usually this is the one time only if you have something like this, a major growth investment, is where you could start looking at borrowing money to invest in your business. I want to warn you right now, and it's a recommendation, but also a warning. You want to be very careful about borrowing money just in order to just maintain the way you live your life. What I mean is, don't borrow money to buy a fancy car. Don't borrow money to go away on holiday. Don't borrow money in anything that is a consumer expense. Don't borrow money to get a nicer television. But if you're looking to borrow money to invest in growing your business, then that's the one area where I would say, yes, at some point you make that decision. I am going to make this investment to take my business to the next level. That should be the only time you as a business owner who is looking to transition into building a successful business and should be doing and should be looking at and should be focusing on borrowing. Apart from that, please don't borrow money. It's not a good idea. We've talked about maximizing your time. We've talked about maximizing your money. Now I'm going to talk about maximizing your energy. And when I'm talking about energy, I mean both your physical energy as well as your mental energy. And this is the one resource. Energy is the one resource that I realize that entrepreneurs ignore. If there's one resource that entrepreneurs don't value, it's their energy. In fact, many of them abuse their energy and they glory in it. How many of you have heard of people who say, I don't sleep until 1 o'clock and I am already awake by 5 o'clock and I'm into work. Why should I be sleeping when I'm supposed to be out there changing the world and making money? And people say that. And a lot of people think that that's a good thing until they get burnt out and they crash. The reality is this: if you don't manage your energy, and if you just feel, I'm full of positive energy, I'm a go-getter, I'm a high energy, I'm driven, and you abuse your physical and your mental health, and you don't take care of your well-being, you will crash, you will burn out, and it would be hard to recover. And this that I'm talking about right now, I can identify with this because this happened to me. This actually, as I'm sharing this with you, it's impacting on me because I know how much burnout impacted on me in my personal life as well as in my business life. And retrospectively, if there's one thing I would have done differently, is I would have taken time and taken care of myself and paid attention to my energy and use my energy more effectively and more efficiently in order to maintain a high level of productivity without burning myself out. But I'll go into more detail about my story, my burnout story, in another episode. I will share that with you. But today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a few tips for managing your energy. I'm just going to zip through these and let's go. The very first one is this: eat more for your health than for your pleasure. And I think this is important. You're building a future. It's not just about food tasting nice and, comforting to eat this. And that's all good for the person who's not building anything. But you are building a future. You've got to eat for your health, you've got to make sure that everything you're feeding your body is intentionally helping you to maintain a highly energized body and a highly energized mind. Is this food that I'm feeding myself good for my body and good for my mind? Questions you need to ask yourself every time something goes into your body. Is this fuel to me build energy, or is this poison, which is slowly killing my body or killing my mind? I really encourage you to just pay attention to this. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not going to dive deep into this. There's a lot of research you can do around healthy eating, and I encourage you to pay attention to that. Number 2, rest your body and mind regularly. Please, every hour, try to find 2 minutes or more to rest. Every day, try to make sure that you take out some time when you're awake, about an hour or 30 minutes when you're awake, to just take a break from work, right? Take a break from work. Take a break from everything. Take a break and just have some alone time, have some relaxation time, right? And also try to sleep early. Try to get those 8 hours in every night. Try to take a break every week. Take a day off. Take a few days off every month and just go away from home. Go to a different environment and just rest away from work and rest away from life. Take time to rest your body and rest your mind regularly. Next thing I'm going to talk about is exercise. Exercise your body and your mind regularly. Again, I'm not going to dive deep into what you should do here. There's a lot of resources out there, but I encourage you to really do this. And I'll share a quick tip though. Find exercise that's fun for you. It's better to do something you enjoy than to do something you don't enjoy, especially if it's helping your body. The more fun it is, the more likely you are to do it. I have friends who run. They enjoy running. They go on and on and on about running. I hate running. Anything that's longer than 100 meters for me, I don't like it. But I love to play squash. I go onto the squash court and I can go on and on and on, and I'm all over the place. I'm stretching my joints. I'm doing all of that, and I have fun, and I actually enjoy it. And I'm able to exercise my muscles and my joints and my heart doing something that I enjoy. If I was going to just run, I'd run for a minute and I just don't want to do it anymore. And then the next day I'm reluctant to go. But anytime a friend says, should we go to the squash court? I'm up for it. I enjoy it. And I still get the exercise in. The key lesson here is find the exercise that you enjoy, because the more you enjoy it, the more likely you are to do it. Number 4 is disconnect from energy drainers and surround yourself with people who contribute to your well-being. The reality is the people who you relate with, there's some people who will drain you of energy because of all their negativity, just because of their attitude. There's just something about them. When you are around them, they just drain you of energy. And you know, some people where you've had a conversation with this person, and then for the next 2 hours, you just can't focus. They've just upset you so much, whether they've scared you, whether they've annoyed you, whatever it is, but there's just something about being around them just drains you of energy. Disconnect from them. They are not good for your future. Instead, surround yourself with people who contribute to your well-being, who inspire you, who motivate you, who encourage you, who, when you spend time with them, you feel like you can go out there and take on the world and win. Be intentional about the people you allow into your space, because it impacts on your overall energy. Get rid of the drainers. Get rid of the drainers in your life. Who are these people? Get rid of them. They don't need to be in your life, because you're going somewhere and they will hinder you from getting there. And then the next one, which is really important, number 5, love your neighbor as yourself, not than yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself, not than yourself. It's really important that you make choices with your best interest at heart. What does that mean? Classic example. You've got to be very comfortable saying no to people without feeling guilty. Somebody might need something from you. They might need something from you, but you don't have the capacity to do it. But because you don't want to let them down, you say yes to them. You are loving them more than you are loving yourself. You're helping them, but hurting yourself. Do not hurt yourself by helping others, because eventually you will burn out. And when you burn out, they'll move on to someone else to help them when you no longer have the capacity to help them. And this is really important for a lot of people who just feel, I can't say no. This is the problem. You can't say no. You take on more than you can handle. You get overwhelmed. You begin to get stressed. And at some point, you will then disappoint them because you can't really deliver. You're stressed. You're burnt out. What do? They go look for the next sucker who they can go up to and ask for help, who won't say no, and they'll just keep doing that. You've got to be comfortable to say, I'd love to help you, but right now I have too much on my plate. I will not be able to do this now. And be very comfortable doing this without feeling guilty. Love your neighbor, but not more than yourself. Love yourself too. Love yourself enough to do things and make choices that have your best interest at heart. And then finally, number 6, create time for fun. Create time for fun. If you don't have fun, you'll burn out. You have limited time and you want to invest your time wisely so you can maximize your time. But it's really important that you understand your body and your mind need to relax. That you need to be able to enjoy life as you do life. Yes, you're building a business. Yes, you're running a family. Yes, you've got a job. You've got all these other commitments, but you've just got the one life. What's the point of going through life without enjoying life? So it doesn't have to be a lot of time. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It doesn't have to be a lot of energy, but just invest some time, some money, and some energy, or maybe a little more of one than the other, to actually just enjoy moments, find ways to create fun moments, enjoyable moments, right? And create some memories on the way to building this phenomenal business that you're building that is changing lives. Really, really important that you do this. I did say that there was one thing that I was going to share with you before we go off. So you have this goal, this reasonable goal that you're looking to achieve. Find work that is close to home. if you can. This is one of the things that I encourage you to do. This was one thing I should have done that I didn't do, because I remember then my long commutes to work and back. I leave work and I am tired, but it would take me about 90 minutes to 2 hours to get home. And the commute going in the trains and in the buses and the underground. And by the time I get home, I am drained. And it was so hard for me to recover and then find time to do anything as far as my business was concerned. What I would do differently now is I'd find work closer to home, even if it was making me a little less money than I was making from my job. Even these days, you can actually find work that's remote. If you can find remote work, even better. And also work that is minimal stress, maximum pay, the most you can get without too much stress, and also where it's closer to home. This way, it just means that you can still do a good job. And if you can find work that you enjoy, that's even better. So a job that you enjoy that is closer to home, that's minimal stress, and that's maximum income opportunity within that role, as well as growth opportunities. And then just live lean. This key thing, live lean, live lean. You're building a future. So live lean today, live lean, put your money, your energy, and time into growing your business. Find a community you can be a part of, and find a mentor. Having this right community, the right people around you to create the right energy, the right support, having a mentor who would guide you and help you to not make too many mistakes on the journey to where you're going and help accelerate your growth. These are the things that make a big difference. You do this, and this will really help you maximize these 3 resources and help you on the road to building a phenomenal business. And by the way, in next episode, I'm going to be sharing some more information about my mastermind and mentoring group. I haven't run one in a few years, but I'm going to be launching a new one, and there's an opportunity for you to not just be a part of it, but actually come on early at some special discounted pricing. But you'll get all the information about that during our next episode. I hope this has been useful for you. Don't forget to get the word out there. Don't forget, it's not what you know that counts. It is what you do with what you know. So take all this stuff, go ahead and implement it, and look forward to being a part of your success story. Next episode, we're going to be discussing how to build a solid business foundation for your coaching business. And I promise you, it's going to be great. All right, let's keep changing lives and let's keep getting paid. See you on the next episode. My name is DJ Sabanjo, and bye for now. You have been listening to the Coaching Business Mentor podcast, the podcast focused on giving premium business advice to heart-led coaches, helping them get more clients, help more people, and make more money consistently. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd like to encourage you to do 3 things very quickly. Number 1, subscribe to this podcast. Number 2, I'd like you to leave a review about the podcast and how useful it was for you. And number 3, I would like you to share this podcast episode with 3 coaches who you know would benefit from this. Thank you so very much for listening. If you do want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram. It's DJ Sabanjo, and I look forward to continue to be a part of your success story. Let's keep on changing lives, and let's keep on making our world a better place and getting paid as we do so. This is DJ Sabanjo. See you on the next episode.